Interesting agenda today. We're going to have a couple of topics that we're going to discuss with regards to our how we're going implementing our strategy and also some work we're doing on culture. So there'll be very interesting presentations. We also have a special guest with us today, one of our directors and the chair of our Health, Safety and Environment Committee, Kim McEloney, who's going to help us to present the City of Westwater safety sensations. So another thing to look forward to. So without any further ado, I will pass you off to our first speaker, Cameron FitzGerald. He's going to give us an update on our how we're going with regards to our strategic initiatives. So welcome, Cameron.
Thank you, Sean. And I obviously missed the memo on blue check shirts today. But,
and long sleeves too.
Long sleeves, probably a better option. Thank you for I see Shane's got his blue check shirt on at the back there as well. So men's fashion is not my thing. Welcome to today. You might recall that we did our strategy launch on the 9th of December, so we're about 2.5 months beyond that. And at that time, David announced 8 key immediate initiatives that we would be implementing. So I'm here to give you a bit of an update on that. This was the slide that he used when he announced the strategy. So diversity and inclusion strategy. So that is headed for release on the 8th of March as a part of the International Women's Day celebrations. And that will include diversity targets, as he mentioned. And it's really important because this is about making sure we are a place to welcome everybody and get the advantages that diversity provides to businesses like ours, particularly given that we serve a very diverse customer base. Our culture and leadership program, I'm not going to tell you what that is because Louise is going to tell you what that is immediately after me. So there are things moving on that and Louise is going to give you a full update on that. The Innovation Fund, I've moved forward. Face-to-face contact with customers. As you can see, we still do not have face-to-face contact with customers, but we are going to. And Julie is haranguing building management to make sure that they understand how important this is to our business, and that she's working really, really hard with building management to build a proposition there so we can get our face-to-face contact. It is something that we get regular feedback from our visitors and from our customers that is really important to them. So we're working hard on that. Reward and recognition program is being built at the moment, and the exec team's about to see some proposals and sign off on those. We have our e-billing. E-billing has been launched and we've got over almost 3,000 customers on it already. And we've only been doing only started our marketing campaigns. So if you are a customer of City Westwater, you should get on it. And if your friends are customers of City Westwater, we'd love you to encourage that. It's a great way. Many customers are getting, like it, but it also delivers us some really substantial cost savings in the way we deliver our services through that. And a great call out to our customer operations staff who are making an offer to all customers who are calling in to see whether they would like to switch to e-billing. So that's a really significant improvement. And we've launched our $100,000 innovation fund. So as you'll know, a couple of weeks ago there was a launch for that. About 100 people attended, and I've heard many things in the corridors about people with their great ideas. So this is a really exciting opportunity to drive some innovative proposals, and we have the Innovate, which is the executive team plus our innovation specialist who will be sitting there ready to assess the proposals and help drive some things forward. So looking forward to that. We've joined the Choose Tap partnership, and our water trailer that goes out to all of our festivals and the like is now Choose Tap. I see some Choose Tap bottles just in the front couple of rows here. That's a really important part of demonstrating our partnerships. Yarra Valley Water have developed that program and we've joined the alliance, and there's a large number of businesses across Victoria that have joined that. And a way of communicating the health benefits of water, the environmental benefits of not buying bottled water, and the cost savings that are associated with drinking our very, very cheap and very, very good tap water. And we've also joined WaterAid. And you may have seen yesterday that there was an announcement, again, aligning with our innovative approach, that WaterAid run a competition every year, and you compete with other water businesses across Australia and the UK to come up with solutions for developing countries and their water supply, and how they can deliver innovative responses. We are going to put in a team. We need to nominate that team by next week. So there will be an information session on Tuesday next week. So if you're interested in participating in our team, we're looking for cross-business people. It doesn't have to be engineering people. It can be anybody from across the business. We'd love you to be involved in that and join that team. And certainly people from Yarra Valley Water, who I've spoken to, and from Sydney Water, who participated last year, have been really, really positive about that experience. This year we're looking at solutions for Nicaragua. So, and I just like saying Nicaragua. So there's our update on that. Are there any questions, or we'll go straight to Louise? Great, thanks.
A bit smaller. So good morning and welcome to Main Connection. This morning I'm going to cover three things. The first thing is to provide you with a little bit of an update on some of the changes you will have heard and seen coming out of the People and Capability team. I'm then going to launch the exciting new programme of work around culture, which Cameron's already spoken to you about, and for you to find out how you can get involved starting from today. And then finish with a little bit of information about the new cultural engagement survey, which will also be going live on the 27th of March. So they're the three things I'm covering today. So, a little bit about the changes that are occurring within the People and Capability team. So, in end of November, December, we launched the City West Water Strategy. And it's about the same time that I joined the organisation. And one of the first things that I was asked to do and that I wanted to do was work out what my team were doing and how we were adding value to the organisation, and particularly to align to the new City West Water Strategy. And clearly there were gaps. And this is because the change of focus and a change of expectation in relation to our people. And this then led me, with working with my team and with the ELT, to think about how, well, what is the new service offering that I need to be able to deliver through a new operating model and through a new structural alignment. This led to the creation of a different service proposition through three core areas within People and Capability. The first one being core services. So People and Capability core services is really the frontline service offering to our employees and leaders, being able to provide advice and services and access throughout the whole of the employee life cycle, from recruitment through to exit, and being able to provide a good quality service consistently across the business. The second area was around strategic advice and partnering, where we will have strategic advisors working as part of the business, advising leaders and ensuring that all of the People and Capability initiatives are embedded and launched and consistently applied across the business. And then the final area, which was creation of new centres of excellence, which really talk to some of the new focus areas within City West Water: culture, capability, diversity and inclusion, and change. So that then created, as with the new strategy, or two new areas of strategy, starting to bring in new capability within the team. And as I've been keeping you all abreast of some of the changes and some of the new people who, of which are here today, we started over the last few weeks. So the areas of focus within the proposed people strategy to help us start thinking about how we align our team and how we bring in new capability is, and I'm going to talk to them very briefly and then focus on the transform the culture, because that's the area that is needing to get a lot of focus and deliverables. So transform the culture very much talks to our aspiration or our ambition to have an achievement culture with an orientation towards high performance. So how do we go about that? And I'll talk to you a little bit about how we're planning to do that today. But clearly the role of people and capability is to steward that plan of work across the many different business units and get everybody involved. There's also, as I talked to, the focus around building organisational capability and capacity. In essence, that means making sure that we have the right people with the right skills at the right time, in the right roles, and now and in the future. And making sure that the roles are defined to be able to deliver the services that we need to our customer. We've already mentioned the focus on championing a diverse and inclusive workplace. So again, we have a role to play in helping all of our employees and our leaders make that happen on a day-to-day basis through a range of strategy, plans, policies, procedures, etc., etc. And then the final one talks to, as I mentioned at the beginning, optimising the employee experience from the moment you perhaps decide to join City West Water and you're looking for roles out in the market and you see us on LinkedIn, through to every single interaction you have through your employment at every stage of your employment. And how do we make sure that that's the best possible experience? And again, that talks to how we attract and retain good people in our organisation. As part of the strategy implementation plan that Cameron gave us an update on, there are a number of core deliverables that I've accountability for. The first one is around establishing what an ideal culture would look like. What does achievement culture actually look like? And we're about to talk about how we plan to do that today. We also need to baseline and measure what our existing cultural engagement is today. And then we need to build a plan as to how we're going to get from where we are today to where we believe we want to be in the future. And have a programme of work and initiatives such as the launch of the reward and recognition programme, and there'll be more to come. So there's an immediate focus between now and June. So hence the reason we've kind of got cracking, because there's a lot of work to do between to be able to meet on those deliverables. So why is culture so important? And a famous quote by FitzGerald talked about, whilst we have a strategy which we launched, which obviously has the vision to be an exceptional service provider, and that puts customers first and benefits the community. Having the strategy is one thing, having the culture to be able to deliver on that is something completely different. And the famous quote, culture ate strategy for breakfast, which has actually been expanded now to lunch and dinner, just to prove the point, is ever present when we think about what we want to do in relation to culture. So very quickly, because it's a word that can often be used and misused, I thought it was worth just having a moment to reflect on what do we actually mean by culture. And if you Google, because we all do, then this is pretty much the first, and the one that resonates with me the most in terms of, in its entirety, culture consists of shared organisational values, symbols, behaviours and assumptions. And they're created every single day by every conversation we have, every decision we make, every action we take. And it's lived and breathed in this room. On a Friday, we have Make Connection. That is a symbol, that is something we do in terms of getting together. That's actually part of our current culture. But simply put, it's the way things are done around here. And if we want things to be done differently around here, then we need to think about and challenge some of those underlying values, assumptions, and behaviours. So that's what culture is. But how on earth do you go about changing, transforming, or shifting culture? And the first thing you have to do is understand where you're coming from. And that's why very much the focus on measuring and baselining where we are today, so that we can better articulate and describe where we believe we want to go in the future. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that everything has to change. That doesn't necessarily mean that the culture we have today is wrong or bad. The question is it going to be enough to be able to deliver on the strategy in the timeframes and the ambitions that we've set ourselves? So the focus right now for us on defining that culture. And then once you've identified, then you start to look at things like behaviours and values. You start to develop a whole range of programs and initiatives to engage people in whatever change you've decided you want to make. The role of leadership is incredibly important, and the role modelling of those values and behaviours are significant from not just the very top, but every single leader and person in the organisation, because that is highly symbolic. And then also you have to look and align all processes and systems within the organisation, not just your people processes and systems, the way in which we business plan, the way in which we have delegated authorities, the way in which you manage risk and safety, all talk to the kind of culture that we're looking to achieve. So you have to review and align all of your systems and processes and practices. Sounds easy. So we're at the starting point of our journey. So knowing what we want to move towards or shift is a really helpful starting point. So it's now time to invite all of our employees, in the same way that we did with our strategy, is to help us define your culture. What is the culture that we want to be part of and that we believe will get us to our ambition of providing being an exceptional service provider that puts customers first and benefits the community. So we are going to be looking to obtain your feedback in a range of ways to measure, so that we can measure the gap between where we are today and where we want to shift to. And we'll be doing that between today, starting today, until the 17th. So we are going to be doing a range of activities that I'll be talking to you about. We will use that data to help design the cultural attributes of which we will then measure against. So if we know where we want to be, we can find out where we are today. So how can you get involved? So from today, we will be asking you to get your hands dirty and start to show us through a range of mediums the kind of culture you want to be part of. We put out a number of areas on each floor where you will see some sticky boards, where you will be able to see pictures and images and phrases and words. And if you can't find anything that that resonates, then you've got some post-it notes that you can actually stick up and start to engage with us around those around 3 key questions. They're going to be at each location, and we're going to be refreshing and updating those boards and collecting the data on a day-to-day basis. There is also a virtual board, and all of that will be available through the tank, which we'll be sending out a link through on today. So if you don't want to get involved physically, you can get involved virtually and anonymously. One of the activities that was so successful in relation to the strategy creation was the team playbooks. So having a conversation around culture in your team and getting involved through the playbook is something we've already done, so we are reinitiating the playbook, and that will be sent out later next week. We are also inviting you to have a cup of tea with the ELT, to come and talk to all members of the ELT over the next couple of weeks, to engage in a conversation around the culture that they've described they want to be part of, or a cup of coffee, if you don't like tea, but it doesn't rhyme quite so well, and about the culture that you want to be part of creating and moving towards.
You see everyone's eyes light up when you
Everyone,
mention that.
you might need to bring some biscuits, Sean. We'll be setting up an email dedicated, so again you can email us and your questions or your suggestions and your feedback at Cultural Shift. And we'll also be participating in what we call an ELT fishbowl. I'm not suggesting that the ELT has a memory like a fish, but it's an activity to engage in a conversation around culture and leadership, because as I said before, it's very important. And this is what we did yesterday. So the ELT actually got together yesterday and we did exactly the same activity. You can't see that very well, but you can see some beautiful pictures and some post-it notes in a conversation that we had in relation to the 3 questions around what is the culture, what is the behaviours, what's going to help us move forward. So we've already started that process, and these were some of the pictures and some of the images that we chose yesterday. So when you leave the room today, you will see the photos, see the pictures. If you see one of the pictures already up that you like, then there's also going to be some sticky dots, and you can post a sticky dot on a picture. In fact, we would encourage you to do so, because the more sticky dots on a picture would suggest that that's an image that people are aligning to. If you do choose a picture, some of them are a bit obscure, then maybe put a little post-it note to explain why you've chosen the picture, what it represents for you. And again, if you can't find a picture or a phrase, then feel free to write one on a post-it note. Also feel free to, if you see images or pictures in magazines or at home, bring them in, stick them on the wall. And we'll be doing that activity, as I said, for the next 2 weeks. Okay, we're nearly at the end. So, we've talked about the activity to define the culture. We will also be, during this period, preparing for our survey, which we will be launching on the 27th of March. And I thought what I would do, and there will be lots more information coming out about the survey, but just to start answering what I know are some key questions when we talk about the survey. The first one is, who is our provider? We've chosen a new provider this year, and they are a technology organisation that focus and specialise on culture and engagement and all sorts of employee survey and measurement tools. And they're called Culture Amp, and we'll be sending you a link so you can go and find out a little bit more about that provider. They provide surveys to a whole range of different types of organisations here in Australia and also globally. What are we measuring? We'll be measuring 3 things. We'll be measuring culture, which is the long term, the way we want to do things around here. We'll be measuring engagement, which are the things that we believe make City West Water a great place to work and we want to be part of. And we'll also be measuring diversity and inclusion. So there'll be 3 areas of focus within the survey. The survey will not be any longer than 60 questions and will take less than 10 minutes to complete. Can people be identified? No. This is a question that you get to ask time and time again when you launch a survey. The survey provider and their ability to provide surveys is based on their ability to not have identifiable data. You will not have to identify yourself when you actually go through the survey as to which department you are from, whether you're male or female, your age. You simply click on and it'll take you straight through to the questions. And in the back end, there is no way in which we can identify any single response. Will there be an opportunity to provide comments? Yes. All 60 questions, there or thereabouts, questions will have an opportunity to have free text comments. Every single question will have that availability for you if you so wish. Can people be identified? No. I mentioned how long will we have to wait for the results. One of the reasons why I chose Culture Amp, having used many service providers over many years, is the fact that they are able to provide immediate, real-time feedback. So we don't have to wait 2, 3, 4 weeks. Pretty much at the end of the survey, the results will be there. So we have a very innovative technology platform to be able to give us real-time data, which is fantastic. Which also means we can move to action, because the survey is a complete and utter waste of time unless you do something with what you are told. So we will be able to move and take action pretty much straight away by getting key themes at an organisational level and within a section level. and I couldn't help myself. So, I think you know the answer to that question. So, culture, alt shift. It's the launch of our new programme of work. Please get involved, please have your say, please help us to define and create the culture you want to be part of. Questions?
You mentioned a working group. Who's on that working group?
So at the moment, we're kind of morphing and growing as we speak. So at the moment, Glenn has actually done an amazing piece of work to help us get to this point. Claire Lombardi, Amanda, who else? We've Anne, Liz. I'm doing really well, so I'm sure I've forgotten somebody. Hands up who I've forgotten. Ivan and Amira, that's it. And if anybody else wants to be involved, come and see us. We're really keen to get as many people involved as possible. So if you want to be part of this, if you've got some ideas of what we need to be doing, then please let me know and get involved.
Good question. How do we track the achievement of the culture aims?
How do we track?
So say throughout the next 6 months, year or 2 years, how are we going to track how we're going?
That's a really good question. So the philosophy is that you should only survey as quickly as you can act. So we can act and start to see things happening within 6 months, for instance, then we will survey again. If we don't, and we don't believe that we've been able to get the momentum or things are not quite, then we won't survey. So the philosophy for me is survey only as quickly as you can act. So the focus is on the action, not the surveying. The great thing about the provider we've used is we've got full access to be able to do that anytime. You might also want to be able to do little mini pulse checks, or you might want to do a particular survey in one area because they've been doing a lot of different things. So it gives us a lot more freedom and flexibility, agility and flexibility, two of the key behaviours we talked about in our strategy, to be able to pretty much do what we want when we want. Okay, I'll hand back to our host.
Can I just sticky boards running into the kitchen near the television in the corner.
And over morning tea we can make a start. So there's no such thing as free morning tea, so you'll have to make a start when we go back to packaging.
Thanks, Louise. And I can tell you from experience, because I did participate yesterday, that there may be some lengthy explanations required from people with some pictures. It's surprising how quickly you learn about the creative side of your colleagues undertaking exercise. So it seemed Cameron had a picture for everything, and some of those required quite a bit of interpretation, including the one to do with hygiene, but he can explain that to you over a cup of coffee and a biscuit after he washes his hands.
It wasn't personal, please.
I said earlier, Kim will do the City West Water safety sensation. So the first City West Water sensation goes to 6 people from the Trade Waste team. So Ian, Jimmy, Josephine, Vincent, Joe and Lockie. So people will remember late last year we had an incident with regards to some customers being provided with recycled water through their potable water taps. We had to, and that incident happened on the day of our Christmas party. So Friday the 16th, I think. So the next day, these 6 people helped us to go and make sure that there weren't any other customers affected with regards to having recycled water come out of their potable water taps. So it was a program I think we were going to do over a matter of a month or 2. Cameron, I'm looking at you. These guys got out there and went around, got up early on the Saturday morning and got around and tested those recycled water, the meters to make sure they weren't. 1,500 houses over 6 hours. That's what they did. So a great effort to those guys. So round of applause. Now when I saw this one, I thought it was to do with, I was laughing, I thought it was to do with Audra and her victory, or many, many victories in the bake-off. That's what I thought it was. It's not actually that, but obviously through what Audra was able to do, she did demonstrate that she is quite the serious baker. But what Audra did, I've learned, is that she undertook to bake her way through the entire Woman's Weekly Baking Collection cookbook. She did it for fun, of course. She also did it to provide her friends and family, obviously, and colleagues at work with food, but she also did it to raise money for pets of the homeless. And she raised over a period of 2 years, it took her to bake 158 recipes in that, $230. Audrey, yeah. So, where is this one? I'm going to read you something. So those people who deal with customers a lot know that we don't often get congratulated, unfortunately. But this is something that came through. So I'll read it out to you as it was presented to us, because it was written to us. So I want to inform Mr. Ryan, MD, Managing Director, I think, he's not a doctor, and Board of Directors about the excellent service I received from Ms. Michelle Ratcliffe, Insurance and Risk Coordinator. I received damage to my motor vehicle from an asset of City West Water and sent an email to Ms. Ratcliffe. She responded immediately and we resolved the matter to our mutual satisfaction within 1 week. Someone's saying that's a fantastic effort. Rather than a protracted fight that I was anticipating, Ms. Ratcliffe ensured the matter was dealt with professionally and fairly. It was a pleasure dealing with her, and I highly recommend her for acknowledgement by the Board of Directors and her superiors for setting the example that City West Water can be proud of. So a pretty amazing outcome from someone who said, basically, I had some assets, my own motor vehicle, which was damaged by your assets, but it was a pleasure dealing with somebody in that circumstance. I think David said before, we want to take every opportunity we can to delight customers, even when things like this occur. So a fantastic effort, Michelle, and we are recognising her not only from the board and management, but with all of her colleagues as well. So well done to Michelle. It's not for order again, but we did have the great FitzGerald bake-off. I was lucky enough to be a judge in this particular event. I got to judge the, was it the savoury ones, I think it was. I made a bit of a joke while I was judging that, something around some herb and garlicky bread that wasn't very herby. And I know that Adam Deverell made a joke when he was doing the presentation. I didn't realise at the time that it was Adam's, but he's taken on board my critique of his baking ability, and I'm sure
I haven't forgotten it.
He's working to improve it. But to Adam, Bronwyn, Ruth, all of my fellow judges as well, congratulations. Great concept, great idea, and it was a great success, and I'm sure we'll be back next year, and Adam will probably get a different judge. So well done. Okay, so I'm not going to read out all those names. You can see them there on the screen. Cameron's mentioned this already in terms of introducing e-billing. So we introduced e-billing on the 1st of February this year. It does provide people with an opportunity to pay their bills a lot easier in terms of dealing with us. I'll get us onto it at home once I can get the controls out of my wife, who likes to pay the bill as soon as it comes in. Once I do that, I'll get it done here. But for all those people, it's something that's taken a while. We've got there. It's a fantastic result. Those people worked exceptionally hard to make sure that we've got it up and running. So congratulations to them. That is all for me. And as I said, we've got Kim McElwain, who will now present our City West Water safety sensations.
Firstly, I'd like to just thank everyone for inviting me here today. The last one I couldn't get to because I ended up having to do something with the Mayor at the last minute at Avalon Airport. So, but it is I really appreciate being invited here today. I'd just like to say for the safety culture, it is anonymous, as Louise has said a couple of times, and it is really important that every employee takes the time to do it. I know it's 60 questions, but it is really important for us. I'd also like to make a comment on the incident just on the 22nd, 23rd of December, before I go into the safety sensations about the water that happened in Windenvale. That is my territory as a councillor, and the way it was handled here was fantastic. David Ryan notified all the directors immediately, and following that I notified our local ward councillors to be on the alert if anything came of it. And it was a positive. The media release that came out in the newspapers, yeah, there was a couple of things, but basically it showed that City West Water were on top of it and that an independent review was being done. And to be able to get the heads up and notify the right people was really good, because I'll tell you, the next day it came out in my media alerts with council, so it just gave me the heads up to tell my colleagues what was going on as well. So thank you to those people that did 1,500 houses in 6 hours. How did you do it? Also, customer service. It is difficult when you get a difficult customer on the phone, and I've put comments in before. I've had people ring me and say fantastic service that customer service gives. In fact, I sent it off to David. I think there was a lady that dealt with the situation within 6 minutes. To be able to ring straight away on the phone and have that being answered, and she was not a well person, and she texted me and said, I got my issue dealt with in 6 minutes, which was fantastic, because she'd spent on other utilities quite a few, like half an hour, so to deal with us within 6 minutes was fantastic. Now I'll get on to the safety sensations, and the first one is for dealing with an office intruder. Now, I will read out these people that are involved with this one. It's Matt White, Aaron Watson, Julie Douglas and John Hanlon. Now, Matt, Aaron, Julie and John are nominated for their extraordinary efforts controlling the situation when an intruder accessed our building on the morning of the 24th of January 2017. Now, I've got to say, having dealt with state trustees, there is challenges. They have a lot of customers with challenging behaviours, so the fact that they acted quickly to assess the situation and not panic was absolutely fantastic. We can never assume they have a right to be in the building. There's people walking around this, and in the environment that we're in today, if someone doesn't look quite right, then notify someone. Get onto it straight away. So on the morning of the 24th of January, a member of the public, who was later found to be a customer of state trustees, gained access to the lifts by following a female City West Water employee through the ground floor entry turnstiles. Concierge was alerted and the police were called. However, before the police arrived, the person entered a lift and got out of the level 8 with the City West Water employee, who was not aware how the person had gained access to the lifts. Shortly after the person had entered level 8, 2 City West Water employees who were aware the person had entered a lift searched for and found the person on level 8, where another 2 employees joined them and attempted to keep the person who at times became aggressive, calm and away from who was at times aggressive and calm, and kept them away from other employees until the police arrived to remove him from the building. A number of employees were involved in and observed the incident. However, the above 4 went above and beyond to ensure the safety of their fellow employees. So I'd like to congratulate those people. Our staff are our number one priority, and you never know who's going to be walking in your building in this day and age. So I'll be interested to see, following the investigation, what comes out of it for future processes. So if Matt could come up. Is he here today?
Yes.
Thank you.
Speech?
Aaron Watson. Roster day off. Julie Douglas isn't here. Okay. John O'Hanlon.
Never normally misses these. No, John's not here either.
Oh, Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron's not here. It's Aaron and John.
Okay. And Julie's not here.
Yep.
Okay, so that's safety number one. Now, number two. We've got that there? Okay, the photograph shows the inlet works at the Altona treatment plants. Sewage is pumped into this location and conveyed to the reactors downstream through channels that are located on the green covers. The covers are secured in a place on the lip of the concrete channel. From time to time, the removal of some of the covers is required so that maintenance and sampling can be taken. The location of the handles make the removal of these covers awkward because they need to be lifted above and across the open channel. As a result, there is a risk that the cover can be blown off from the operator's hands by the wind and make them unstable. There is also a risk that the panel can be dropped in the channel. Tom identified that by relocating handles 90 degrees, it will then be possible to slide the cover along the concrete channel and minimise the interference caused by the wind and the risk of dropping them. New covers with correctly located handles will be manufactured and delivered to the Altona treatment plant for installation. Tom also identified that removing the panel adjacent to the process unit that removes wet wipes and other rags was awkward and created a large opening to the work above. Tom recommended cutting the panel in half to minimise the opening and relocating the handle. 2 new panels will be manufactured and delivered to the Altona treatment plant for installation. I'd just like to say thank you. He thought outside the box and he didn't accept the status quo. He identified a risk and had the foresight to think of how can we fix this. So congratulations, Tom. You gonna make a speech? I have slide 4, Lisa. Lisa is in people and capability and is nominated for her work over a number of months with facility operations and risk compliance employees in the coordination and development of the online contractor induction, which has been an outstanding effort. And I know a little bit about these online contractor inductions because I've been involved with Australian Unity. And initially I thought, oh, how are we all going to do this online? You know, some contractors don't have computers and things like that, or it's all a bit hard, but I can now see that it's so important to have a uniform way of doing things. So congratulations to Lisa. Now I have one, but I don't actually have anything for that person, so I'll just...
That one?
No. Yes, Albie. Yes, okay. And that is for making the windows in the toilets. Yes, good initiative, and I can understand why, because of the situation. So Albie, would Albie like to come forward?
There's Albie. And the famous yellow footsteps too.
Yes.
Did you see them?
Yes. Okay. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
No worries.
All right, thank you everyone for coming. Very interesting main connection, and I hope you all join me and everybody else for a cuppa and some morning tea in the breakout room. Thank you.